Excuse my video tardiness. It's been a kind of a rough weekend. But not stop me from. Hey, look, I have notes this time. Did not stop me from catching back up on a show I have not caught back up on in at least a few years. So, is it a few years? Yeah, I finished season 1 of this around the same time I finished, I think it was the first season of that Amazon show called Mozart in the Jungle. Yeah, that and I think the first season of BoJack Horseman. Anyway, I just recently finished season 2 of The Expanse, Sci-Fi Channel show. Well, it's now an Amazon show, but this is the period in time when it was still on the Sci-Fi Channel. So, if I really liked season 1, from what I remember from it, if it's a show I liked before, I love it now. It's way better than season 1. And like I said, the first season I haven't seen in a while, but it quickly brought me back up to speed with everything going on. It went from kind of a futuristic noir almost, kind of a detective type thing where Thomas Jane's character was searching for someone, to a more like extended, ongoing storyline with colossal stakes because we're dealing with, the fate of the solar system. The other thing, production values for something on the Sci-Fi Channel, the production design for this is quality. Like, highly impressive visuals. It makes your eyes go out. Like, I've never seen anything on Sci-Fi look this good. Like, probably ever. And with Amazon, I can only imagine how much the budget looks, increased now, because Sci-Fi, for as good as it looks, they don't have big bucks. Amazon does. But, yeah, I really got it back into this show really quick. Now, this is a show adapted from not just one novel, but a series of novels by these two authors who go by one name. And they're credited as James S.A. Corey, but it's technically two guys. It's Ty Franck, is it Frank or Franck? Ty Franck and Daniel Abraham. They are the two guys that wrote these, so far, 9 novels in this series, and from what I hear, there's supposed to be a 10th coming out before the end of this year. And I don't know exactly if that means each season of the TV show is an adaptation of each one of these books, meaning potentially it could mean 9, possibly 10 seasons, but then again, they said that about Game of Thrones, and they cut that one short. I actually wrote down the name of the books because they all got really cool titles. Leviathan Wakes was the first one. Caliban's War is the second one. Caliban's War is actually the name of the title of the episode that the season 2 finale is. So that's why I asked is season 1 based on Leviathan Wakes, and is season 2 an adaptation of Caliban's War, and like so on and so forth. And if not, then it's cool too. I like stuff that either stays true to source material or deviates from it to create something new. Third one says it's called Abaddon's Gate. The fourth one's called Cibola Burn. Excuse me. Nemesis Games is the fifth one. Babylon's Ashes, Persepolis Rising, and Tiamat's Wrath. Fuck you, Cole. It's a lot of cool titles for just a sci-fi series. And I don't know when the first novel came out, but it really is an enthralling show. It grips you quickly. The writing and the character development from season 1 to season 2 improved substantially. like you really get a better feel of all of these characters and all of their uh, situations so much more in this installment than the last one. Um, you get a lot more of who James Holden is, a lot more who of Naomi is, a lot more who of what's it do with the huge ass muscles? What's his name? I know the actor's Wes Chatham. What's Amos? Um, I like his character development a lot. Cass Anver's character, Alex, the Texan guy who flies a ship. He's one of my favorites. I like him a lot. And I heard the show, even though I've never seen this show I'm about to compare it to myself, I've heard the show compared to another big sci-fi hit, Battlestar Galactica. And although I've never seen Battlestar Galactica, I can definitely see where it has that like ever-reaching sci-fi universe feel. It feels like a science fiction show that's exploring multiple different regions and territories instead of just making the galaxy feel like a high school or something like that, or keeping the range fairly limited. The oh yeah, I have two sides to this. Love the characters. I love how the storyline progresses. It doesn't feel episodic at all. It's an ongoing storyline. There are quite unpredictable points at places within this story you do not expect to be taken by surprise. Like, this is technically going to count as a spoiler, so I'm going to give you like a 5-second warning, because this one blew me back, so... You gone? Okay. They fucking killed Thomas Jane, man! I did not expect them to ice one of the main characters that quick. I mean, it was a beautiful episode. It was very sad, it was touching, and it was very dramatic, but I still did not expect that. It was, I won't say like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead, because, or one of those shows that gets into the habit of like, knocking off a major character every other season, but it does have a lot of really cool surprises. The human drama is legitimately compelling, and it's enthralling, and like I said with the writing, it is just as much as the visuals and the characters splendidly done. Makes me all that more intrigued to see the further installments. The action in this is a lot cooler than the first season, because I think, I'm not sure if the budget increases with each ongoing season, but the production values, as I said, it keeps going up. There's a lot of slick humor in this that I liked a lot. There's points in this you don't expect to laugh out loud, but there's a lot of great dialogue in here that either catches you off guard with how smart it is and how well thought out it plays within these characters and their hang-ups, but it gets really funny at points. These characters, they've clearly known each other for so long, they have to have that sort of brotherly or sisterly camaraderie. The dialogue exchanges I loved in this. And, just the concept alone of... Oh, no, nothing I forgot to mention about the characters. This show gave me a couple of new Hollywood crushes. I don't mean to sound like a dude, but Dominique Tipper and Frankie Adams are fucking beautiful. Seriously. And Frankie Adams' character, she was one of my favorite characters in this entire season. She started out what I thought was going to be a villain, or at the very least, like an anti-hero. And her character development was some of the best throughout most of the characters, and she's a new one. So, her and Dominic Tipper as Naomi, she is so good at this. She's one of my, I don't know about, definitely top 5 characters in this show, because there's a few of them that I really like revisiting. not main character, but recurring one. Chad L. Coleman has a role in this as a character named Fred Johnson. He plays a really big role in here as the leader of this station in the asteroid belt called the Tycho Station. And I forget what OPA stands for, but he's supposedly the leader of it. It's like this interplanetary station up in the middle of nowhere that's got what they call belters as opposed to Earthers and Martians. It's the concept alone of the planets Earth and Mars, along with the asteroid belt, potentially being at war, is a really interesting science fiction ongoing storyline concept. And there's so much room to play with that, because there's one genre that's excellent at dealing with old world and current event goings on with social commentary. It's sci-fi. Science fiction has always been a perfect genre for that. And, Sheree Agdashlu. She is one of my all-time favorite characters in this show. Every other line she has is golden. They give her some dialogue I don't think I've ever heard her quite say in other shows, because I remember her in other shows like 24 and a bunch of movies. She's an actress who's been around for a long time, but in this show, she's funnier than I've ever seen her, and her character is really sharp and witty, and is always like a take no prisoners, no bullshit attitude. I love that. And other characters like you expect to be either anti-heroes or villains, they turn out not to be, or vice versa. It's really enthralling in that regard. So overall, I'd say substantial step up from season 1. Even though I did like season 1, I'm not ragging on the first season at all. It just gets me hyped to see seasons 3 and 4, because I know people say, man, that first season was good and that second season was great, but seasons 3 or 4 are fucking amazing. It goes from good to great to fucking awesome, from what I hear. And from what critics say, seem to agree with most of those people. So I'm now so more than before excited to see the rest of this. But from liking this show to loving it really quick. So I don't always do out of 5 stars. I can do out of like 10 or something like that. Doesn't always have to be the same thing. But out of 10, it's a solid 9.5. It's a solid 9.5 out of 10. I loved this second season. And if what my friend told me after I said, man, I finished second season, he goes, season 3 is better. I was like, better than what I just saw? Sold. I always remember having a couple of Sci-Fi Channel shows I liked, but until now I've never had a Sci-Fi Channel show that I loved. So, to the people who create that show, keep up the good work, because it is some great cinema level storytelling as far as a sci-fi entertainment is concerned. So if you got an Amazon Prime account, you best go give that shit a look.